Okay, GIs, it is November 25th, the 25th of November, 2023. This is an evidentiary video. I'm going to show you, well, let me just tell you, I hope that everybody's doing okay, and I want to say that, this is an ongoing problem for me. Like, they've been coming in my house when I leave, and the minute that I go to sleep at night, they come in. They make a lot of racket in your homes. A lot of it is not like you think it's the neighbors. I live in an apartment. You think it's the neighbors upstairs. Sometimes it is, or downstairs, or wherever. But a lot of it is electronics that they put in your homes. So the minute you leave, they come in your home. A lot of it is electronics that they put in your homes, and that makes these so that way that they can play these sounds, and you think that it's the neighbors or whatever, and really it's just sounds that they put in your home so they can play. They also will magnify everything, like any sound. They'll amp it up like 100%, like 100 times, so that way if it's like a faucet dripping, they will amplify that 100 times. And there's things in the plumbing industry that they put down in pipes that can do that, they run down in pipes that can do that. And they will do that in your toilets and all that. And then they play other sounds while they have it down in your pipes. It's not that expensive to get these items. That way people in the plumbing industry can see the water going and also hear it, mostly hear it, and they amplify it 100 times so they can hear what's going on in the pipes. And they use a lot of tools from a lot of different industrial and a lot of different professions, but that's one of them. And it amplifies everything in your house, not just the water. It amplifies everything, depending on what sound they put in there. They also do that in your neighborhood. Like sometimes when you hear car honking, you can tell that it's not really a real car honking. You can just tell, or the sirens are not exactly real. If you pay attention, you can tell by the way that the siren is making the noise. And those are also speakers that they hide in rocks and all that. A lot of apartment complexes, new housing developments, stuff like that, they will plant those in so that way prospective buyers, and then they'll turn on birds chirping, and then you got the sun shining and the birds chirping, and you think, oh, what a lovely apartment complex. You see how it plays on your mind. And so they will run those noises through through those speakers that they have planted in the rocks and in the bushes that the apartment complex is used for. Like I notice when they do a big open house in my apartment complex, I can always hear like a lot of birds chirping, but I can't see the damn birds. So I already know that they're playing those, and you can see the people walking through looking at the apartments. So they use those same speakers to harass you with, the car honkings and, all those things that go on, the sirens. Because I noticed that a lot of the sirens, some of them, but not all of them, are real. You can tell by the sound and how it's done. So a lot of those are unreal, so just keep those in mind. It's all electronics. We're living in an age of electronics. I don't know why people think that people can't do things with electronics. So another thing I want to talk about is oh, my cat just jumped on me. Another thing I want to talk about is how they damage everything in my apartment. If they can't find any clothes or anything to damage in my apartment, like any clothes or anything, since they've stole them all, they will damage like my plastic bags. They'll put holes in them. My theme is putting holes in everything. That's what they do to me. They put holes in everything, and they pick the seams out of all my clothes. And I started out with probably 25 pair of underwear or undergarments, and all my white ones are gone, all my cotton ones are gone. I hid one pair, and because I wanted to keep track of them, I bought them in, I think there was like 7 or 8 when I bought them in a group. You know how you can go to the store for women's and buy them in a group, you know, in a bag with, they come 7 to 8, sometimes 10, but usually 7 to 8 or 5 pair. Well, I bought these and I hid one pair to see what happened to them. All of my ones that are the same as these, that were bought in the same packages, are gone. And this is what they did to the one that's left. So if you could see here, they picked it out. Let me see if I can shine a little more light. So you see how they picked it out? Now you could see that, okay, it's, you can, and how you're going to know that this was totally picked out is there's the one spot and then there's another spot over here. So you see, if it was a real, like if it wasn't done on purpose, then there wouldn't be those spots. It would just start over here and then you would just see and it would stop. But you can see that it was picked out in spots. And you can see that these are sewed real good. This is a triple seam. And you see that they picked it out. And they purposely leave it sticking out so I notice it. They do this. And see, look. They do this. And they've been doing this to me for years. I've got numerous videos. Look. And they leave the seams picked out like that. So I notice it. But I'm missing... Like these came with a whole bunch of other ones in a package and all of them are gone. I'm down to like 5 pair of underwear and probably less than that of, you know, all my undergarments are gone. They picked it as long as, and they took like they've taken like 5 tubs of clothes, my summer clothes, they've taken all of those. They pick everything out, everything out. And put holes in a lot of the other things. It's a common thing for me, and if I showed you every piece of clothing that I have, you would understand. I might do that one day. I might get out all my clothes and show you what they do to my clothes. Like I've showed you over the years of all the stuff that's been picked out. As a matter of fact, this chair I'm sitting on, they picked the seams out of it. It has seams on it. They picked it out. And they damage everything that I own. If I buy a recliner, they damage it. If I buy food, they damage it or take it. I'm missing like a 5-pound bag of sugar. They take everything from me constantly. And yes, I've tried cameras, but let's go back to some of my other videos where I talked about I live in an apartment complex and you can change the locks on your door, but you got to give the office the key. And everybody in the office has access to that key, as well as all the office staff. And this isn't the only apartment complex. All the maintenance people, not only in this apartment complex, but all of the maintenance people. There's like 2 or 3 apartment complexes. They all have they're all owned by the same people. It's not just this apartment complex. This happens in every apartment complex that I've lived in. All the people that leave they could come and be a maintenance person for 1 month or 2 months just to get a copy of the key, or a few weeks, and they'll give them the key to the apartment, and then they'll go make a copy, and then they'll leave they'll leave employment. So they leave with the keys. It's not hard to go take a key and get a copy on your lunch break. It's not hard, or on a break. It's not hard. I mean, while they have them in their possession, they could go get a copy of it. I mean, apartment buildings really are not safe, especially for TIs. If you have your own home, or your own, wherever you live, you own a piece of land, or you have your own house, or you have your own mobile, or whatever it is you live in, I would suggest staying there and not selling, because they wouldn't let me rebuy something. I was able to rebuy one house And then after that, they ran me out of that house. I was waking up with bruises all over me and all kinds of crap. And I went, and then after that, they wouldn't let me buy anything else. Yeah, they wouldn't let me buy another thing. Like, I tried to, I started looking about a year ago. Well, last couple of years, I've been looking at like small RVs or mobile homes. And now they've wrecked my credit, so I can't get that. I tried to close my credit cards and they wouldn't let me. I actually called one of my credit cards up before things got bad and told them, I want to close it. And they said, okay, we'll close it, but it's going to affect your credit. I said, I don't care, close it. And they never did it. Because they wanted me to keep charging and charging and charging. And another thing they do too is they will, at the banks, they will, like you'll get, like say $500 deposited in your account. And then you'll buy something from one of the major retail stores or some groceries or something, and you'll see it processing pending on your account the next day. And then you'll look a week later and it will, instead of going through, it will be reprocessed again. So they're just so the first time they put it through pending, it holds the money on your account. And then I noticed this. And then like a week later, it will be, it should have went through and processed and the money should have been taken out of your account. The authorization hold should have fallen off. But a week later, that still payment has been put back on and it's reprocessing. So what they do is they're yanking the money out of your account each time. And they're not, it should be just an authorization hold, but they're not. They're re-holding it, and they never put the money back in for the first authorization hold. Well, it's not, they're not putting the money back in, it's just a hold, supposedly, but they're not holding it. They're yanking it out of your account. Like I had something that I had purchased, and what they did is they put an authorization hold on that amount, let's say $100, and then they left it on there for like a month, and it was just dead on my account, so I didn't have access to that $100. Well, in the meantime, the actual charge went through for the $100. I think it was $112. It went through, and they processed and took the money off my account. But they left the authorization hold on for over a month, and it just stayed on my account, and I couldn't have access to that money. But in the meantime, I already paid for it because they processed the actual charge. Well, then when they finally released it, the money didn't show back up in my account. The authorization hold, it didn't show back up in my account. So basically I got charged twice. They released the hold, but the money didn't show back up. I would still have the same balance. And I noticed that they do that a lot. Like if I have a bill payment, I'll have like $100 left in my account and I have a $50 bill. Well, I'll pay the bill, and then like in 5 days I'll have some money deposited in my account, like $500. So that bill will be pending. I'll pay it, and then instead of them taking the money out of the $100 I have, which that would leave me with $50 because I had a $50 bill, they'll process it on the new money that I just deposited. So somehow they're messing around with the account where they're not processing it. Like it should have went through on the $100 I had left because it was 5 days before I ever had another deposit in my account, but instead they're holding all that and then just processing it on the new deposit. And it somehow, I don't know how it exactly works, but they're somehow taking money out of my account doing that. Instead of it processing in that 5 days, instead of it going through and being processed against that 100, they're holding it. And then when I get more money, somehow they're holding all my payments and processing them all at once. So it looks like that. And then that takes all the money out of my account. I don't know how it exactly works, but I watched online how they're doing that, and I forget how exactly it works, but for some reason they're holding it and processing all my payments at once, and then that empties my bank account, when they should have processed it off of the $100 that I had in there. So it's a trick somehow of accounting. It's a trick. So they've been doing that to me for a long time, so I can't pay my bills. And that's how, like, I made a payment on my credit card and they said they never got it. I did that on my car and they said they never got it. Another thing that they do too is, they don't do this for all TIs, but they do to me because I'm a whistleblower. They'll come into your house and mess with your phone. Like, I put my phone in a certain place, and when I wake up in the morning, it's never the way I left it. And the reason why they do that is because they'll take out your SIM card in your phone and they'll put it in this little black box, and then they'll see all of everything that you're doing on your phone, everything you type and all that. I don't know how many times, and even now, like, my SIM card, if you like look it up on my phone, it says that it's not, that I don't have one. It's in there, but it said it's not registering. Something's wrong with it. But yet I still have service because they put a dummy SIM card in there and they take your original SIM card and then they can read everything that you're doing. That's what they did to me. And they've done that on every phone that I've had. They've taken out my SIM card. I've always have a SIM card problem on my phone. My phone never recognized my SIM card, but yet here my phone's working. It never recognizes the SIM card. And I forget who it was, like a TI person saying, or I don't know what I was watching, but there's this little black box. I was watching it, and they can put it in there, and then it'll read everything you're doing on your phone. Every single thing that you do. All your passwords, everything. And that's why my phone's not working, and I have a dummy SIM card in there. And they can also, they have other programs that are a lot better, that they just have to have your phone number and they can track everything you're doing too. There's other programs and stuff. But, there is one group, and I'm not going to mention their name, but there is one group, and they're supposed to be a religious-based organization, and I believe that's who's doing this. And I mean, to me, maybe not to you, but that's who I believe is doing this, because the stuff that they do, it's like back in the day, the stuff that they are doing, and they are that way. That organization has multi-million-dollar companies. They're a multi-million-dollar company. They own a lot of stuff, a lot of property, a lot of car lots. That's where you get the paper license plates and all that. I have a good idea who's doing this. So there's that. And nobody's talking about them. Nobody's talking about them. And they're known for this shit. Nobody's talking about them. So you got to think about that too. Nobody's talking about them. No TIs are talking about them. Not one. I mean, I've seen a couple people do a couple things on them, but they're infiltrated everywhere. They've got people everywhere too. So you got to think about that. But anyways, that's my 2 for 1. And they also damage all your relationships. Like, they go and talk to everybody and they damage all your relationships. And then also too, how do you like, here's my problem. How do I know that they do a lot of voiceovers too. Like, nowadays that's rampant, and they'll call you and all they need is a sample of a voice, and they'll call you and you'll think you're talking to one of your relatives or, your own kids, and you're not talking to them. It's just a voiceover computer. I can always tell. You're not always, but sometimes I can tell that I'm not talking to the person by the things that they're saying to me. All right. I hope that that's just my evidentiary video. I'm going to have to do more videos about the damage they do to me. But, you could say that, oh yeah, sometimes shirts fall apart, and especially nowadays. Yes, they do, but not all your shirts. Not every single shirt has a hole in it or is picked apart like me. Not all your clothes disappear. Where are the rest of my underwear? I mean, I bought 7 pair of those, and I hid these. They would have took them. So there you go. Peace and love.